Okay, hi everyone, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, as people are coming on in, I would just go ahead and introduce myself, and we can get my colleagues to introduce themselves. If you happen to be new to our InSync network, to our monthly roundtables that we like to have. So my name is Shannon Elliott, and I am the manager of our InSync network, which is specific to our support group leaders, providing trainings and resources. Thanks for those thumbs up there, Roger. I saw that. And Phil, yes, so it's so great to see your faces this morning. And I'm gonna pass it on over to Rachel.
All right, hello everybody. So great to see familiar faces and new faces this morning. I am the Community Network Manager here at PMD Alliance. I am helping out with Shannon and her support group leader training workshops, and seen many of you so far across the country, and glad to see your faces again. And let's see, we have Kelly with us, and she's in Nashville.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kelly Merkel, and I am the Online Programs Manager here at PMD Alliance, and I'm happy to be here today as well, and excited for today's session.
Awesome, thank you. And many of you have already done this, but if you haven't, what we like to do during our roundtables here is rename ourselves. So what we'd like to see is your first name, whatever you like to be called, and then the city in which you live. And you might find out that you have a neighbor here in the meeting with you. So to rename yourself, if you're on a computer, you're going to hover your mouse over your own image. There's an ellipsis menu or ellipsis 3 dots in the top right-hand corner. When you click on that, a menu pops up, and you're going to scroll down to find rename, hit that, and then you're going to enter the name you like to be called and where you live. I'm actually in Fayetteville, Arkansas today. I normally live in Santa Fe, but I'm helping my parents out for a little bit. So I am in Fayetteville. Oh. All right. Excellent. Good, good, good. And I see we have a couple of new people who said hello in the chat. So welcome to you, and yeah, welcome back to our old timers. So good to see everyone. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you. We usually get started with a couple of slides as we get our roundtables going. Let's see here. Okay. So hopefully you can see my screen. So welcome to our InSync roundtable that we do once a month. Can you believe it's July? I guess you can if you're in 100-degree weather, depending on where you are right now. It's quite a toasty, interesting time for weather these days. Let's see here. So I think I jumped ahead a little bit. So I just want to give some context to what we're doing if this happens to be one of your first meetings with us. So we like to have these monthly roundtables as a time and a space for support group leaders, community leaders to come together to share ideas, bring up questions, issues that you might be dealing with. It's mostly an open forum at this point. That's how we've shifted it. We used to have a little bit more teaching of content and things like that, but we've realized that you all enjoy just really sharing with one another. So we use breakout rooms, and we get into smaller groups so people can really share and ask their questions and speak with one another. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. So I do have some prompts that you will be given. You do not have to speak on those prompts, but you can if that feels right to you. Just feel free to use that time as you wish. We have about 45-50 minutes in our breakout rooms, which goes really quickly, we have found. So you'll be able to really enjoy meeting some of your colleagues or getting back together with them if you happen to know them. Let's go ahead and do our chat storm. So this is a way for all of us to get engaged off the bat. Find your chat function at the bottom of your screen, probably in your toolbar, so you can open your chat window on the right-hand side. And what I thought I would do today is a little play on gratitude or on intention and manifestation for ourselves. And so it's just kind of dropping in and becoming a little bit more present in our bodies and in our hearts and present with the people in front of us. And so what I'd like you to think about is either for your day or for your week, just naming an intention of something that you'd like to manifest for yourself, something you'd like to concentrate your energy on. And I have a few ideas here. Maybe you could think about how you want to feel today or for this week, or what you'd like to experience. And then another question I have or idea is what kinds of connections do you want to make with other people? Because we know how important connection is, don't we? So in a couple of words, think about what that might look like for your day today or for your week. And go ahead and type in the chat, share with your friends where you want to put your energy today. Calm and stress-free. Yes. Personal growth. I love that. Mindfulness.
More mindful. Very nice.
All right.
Stronger.
Accomplishment. Useful. Okay. Energized. We can all use energy. Yes. Learning and sharing. Patience. Yep. Saying you're sorry. Contributing. Reading out papers. I can relate to you, Warren. That's what I've been doing here at my parents' for the last week. So yes, I think it's really helpful. Personally, I think it's helpful to be just thoughtful, mindful of how you want your day to go. And if you do that at the beginning of your day, and that is your intention, it's a lot more likely that that's going to come to fruition. So thank you for participating in that little chat storm. And keep in mind when you have your support group meetings, either online on Zoom or in person, you can utilize these ideas as warm-ups with your group just to get people speaking, just to get them thinking. So, different ideas that we throw around every month. And I'd love to hear from you as well, things you might be doing with your groups for warm-ups and introductions. All right, everyone, I am going to keep on moving, move over to my other screen here, and go through our famous collaboration agreements, what we agree to do with one another as we meet with one another, and just to make sure that we're being productive and respectful. So muting our mics when necessary, but please do unmute when you have something to say and share. Making sure that we listen deeply to one another. That's quite a gift that we can give to one another. So really being intentional about our listening. Building on other people's ideas by saying, yes, and yes, I hear you. Thank you for sharing. And I have this idea as well. Moving with intention. So our breakout rooms are 45, 50 minutes in length. Yet they do go by quickly. So just, keeping in mind, making sure everybody in your group has a chance to share. And then last but not least, please being patient with us and with technology, as we always find fun little glitches and things in Zoom and things happen. So just keeping that in mind, the patience there. All right, is everybody good with that as we move forward? I see some thumbs up. The thermometer, that's what we like to do just for some affirmation of knowing that we're listening and hearing each other in agreement. All right. Couple of just quick announcements. These are some upcoming in-person workshops that we have with our InSync program. So these are the cities that we currently have on the calendar. Keeping all of our fingers and toes crossed as things keep changing with COVID and with all the things. So yes, hoping that this will remain our calendar. But if you happen to be in the vicinity of any of these cities, just keep in mind, you can always drive in. We do provide a free hotel room. It's a 2-day program. And so the night in between the 2 days of workshop, you're welcome to stay with us on us. Okay. And then if you haven't heard, I'd be surprised if you haven't, we've got this All-In Summit taking place in October. Yes, and we have many of you signed up already. So excited. Just a little announcement that we have extended our early bird pricing. We've had a little bit of technical glitches with our registration. And so we have gone ahead and decided to extend the registration for the early bird price of $200. So it's a 4-day conference, and the $200 includes the hotel, the food, and the conference itself. It's really a deal. So make sure and go ahead and register for that while it's that lower price. And I think, Kelly, I can't see my chat, but maybe you could put the registration.
Yes, Kelly posted the All-In Summit link, and I posted the actual registration link that will get you right to where you need to register.
Excellent. Thank you for that. I see a hand raised.
Phil, did you have a question?
Have you had that poetry drawing yet? And who is the grand poopah winner?
We did. We held a few drawings over the last week and a half. I can't remember. Time is very warped recently. So Rachel, could you help me remember who won the All-In drawing? I know I think we had 3 winners.
Yeah, and I don't know where we have those listed. I know that Roger won.
Mm-hmm. And Roger's on the call today.
Yep, Roger Jenkins won.
Nice.
And I don't recall, we had a few different winners because we had a few different drawings. So I just don't know who won what.
Do you need a volunteer?
We'll try to get that list together.
That's fine. That's
Yes,
fine.
yes. And I did see Perry raising his hand. Do you have that information, Perry?
I think Perry was one of the winners too.
Was he?
Oh,
Oh, okay. Are
mean-
you able to unmute yourself, Perry? I'm not sure.
is that Perry from Phoenix?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
you rigged it, Perry.
You're one of the winners?
yes, it was.
Excellent. And
That's
Roger,
great.
and there was one other then.
Yeah.
Perry.
So,
A Diane, I believe.
yeah, we'll have to get those names, but I personally did the drawing for the people who attended the fundamentals training we had a couple weeks ago, and I did it old school. I printed names, I cut them into little pieces of paper, I threw them in a hat, and I pulled them out of a hat. So that was kind of fun.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. And so anyway, we just would love to see as many of you as possible there. I see 2 hands. Let's go with Roger first and then Kelly.
I want to say a big thank you to PMDA, and I was still planning to come if I didn't get chosen, because it is still a bargain for every single person.
Mhm.
It's very true. And I'm curious if we should announce some of the names. I mean, I feel like we have announced via social media some of them. Is that true?
Mhm.
Or it might be a reveal process. I'm not sure. But Jimmy Choi is going to be there. He's going to be one of our keynote speakers. And we have a handful of other really wonderful people coming. So I'll just leave it at that. And then the reveal can happen over time. Okay. And then Kelly, I think you had your hand up as well.
Yes, ma'am. Couple of questions.
Mhm.
If we register and put the $200 in,
Mhm.
and we end up not being able to make it, is that funds refunded?
I would assume so,
We can't assume.
but I will find out. Let me see if I can find out during this time that we're all together, and I can just let you know for sure.
The next question concerns the hotel rooms that will be included in that pricing. Now,
Mhm.
will we be sharing a hotel room with someone else? Or can we, like me, I'm trying to work to see if I can bring my partner, my guy with me,
Mhm.
if I can't leave him alone.
Right.
But I'm not gonna know till I get closer if he can really go or not. And so if I bring him, can I put him in the room with me?
That is correct, Kelly. So the $200 covers hotel room and the food and the conference. And
Mhm.
so say you came with a friend, not your husband.
Mhm.
The two of you would still pay $200 a piece, even though you're in the same room.
Each,
But
okay.
so if it's
Okay.
a single person in a room or two
Yeah.
people in a room, each person pays the
Okay.
$200.
Yeah,
If
and
that
I
makes
can't do
sense.
that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Because he
if
won't attend anything, he would just have to come stay in the room because he don't get out and about.
right, and because of that he's
Yeah.
not a participant,
That's
he
okay.
wouldn't be able to go into the sessions or have
Oh,
the
yeah, well,
meal.
he can't do that anyway.
And so I as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
he's just in your room, and so it
Yeah.
wouldn't be an extra
Okay,
$200.
well, just and we'll chat. I figured that there may be other people with the same questions. Reason I asked Shannon.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I did ask about that. I think someone on the call, someone else on the call here today asked about that. So we have confirmed with the powers that be, people who make the decisions, that
Mhm.
that's the case. It's just that that person would not be able to go into the sessions
Right.
or have the meals. So they'd have
Okay.
to sort of be taken care of on their own.
Mhm.
They can sleep in the bed and be in the room, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
no, I understand fully. No, I understand. It's just the
Mhm.
room. It's not for the conference.
Yes.
And I also believe that if they are joining you for meals, if they're going to be a part of the meals that we share,
Mhm.
they should also be paying that $200 registration fee,
Yeah.
because
That's
that
what I said, yeah.
really
Oh,
covers.
yeah, no, the price is
Yeah.
wonderful price. That's one.
Right.
You just have to know how much I've got to put up front.
Got it.
Absolutely. Yes. And that's good to clarify all of that. And so let's find out what the cancellation policy.
I
Let's
was
answer
just
that.
informed that if you register and pay the $200 and you end up having to cancel, you'll get your refund.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
So everybody should register if they think and hope they can come to get that $200 price. And I did see Roger Tredellis, that airfare is very expensive, and unfortunately that is the case. And that's hopefully why this $200 price is helpful to everybody, that is for the whole conference, and the airfare is what the
On
airfare
top.
We
is.
know how long that's been extended to.
Don't have a
Indefinitely,
date.
we've been told.
Mhm.
So at least till the end of this month.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Hopefully we've
Thank
answered your
you.
questions. And so let's get to the prompt for the round, or for not for the roundtable, but for the breakout sessions today. So this is Nancy still here? Yes, she is. So Nancy Fledberg, she sent me a little email following the fundamentals training we had a few weeks ago, and this was just something that had come up within a conversation she had with another leader. And the fact that when we get together in our support groups, that sometimes it can take kind of a downturn in as far as the positivity. People, obviously support groups exist, so we have a place, a safe space to be with other people, to share our experiences, to be authentic. How is it that we as leaders can keep people uplifted or moving in a more productive and positive spirit, even as they are expressing some of the harder aspects of what they're dealing with in their lives? So we've heard this from many support group leaders, that this is a challenge that they run into. So we're curious, in your experience, what do you do? How do you approach these kinds of situations when they arise during your group meetings? And do you have any special tips or tactics that you like to utilize with folks who have their personality types tend to be a little bit more negative, or they a little bit more, not contentious, maybe that's a bit strong, but people who are a little bit more defensive And, we all get into those spaces at different times in our lives based on where we are and what we're experiencing. And so none of us is immune to these things. But us as leaders, we as leaders need to learn ways to pivot, to bring things back around and, okay, how can we help the situation as opposed to digging deeper holes? Is this resonating for anyone? Do you experience this? Have you, okay, I see
I
some
see a
head
lot of
nodding.
head nodding.
Yeah. So again, this is a prompt. This is something you're welcome to talk about, and then bring up anything else that you feel is necessary, important for you right here, right now. We like to get into groups of about 6 or 7, just because not everybody who goes into a room can always participate. They have to be off camera for whatever reason. 4 to 5 people is an ideal breakout room if everyone's participating. But because things happen, we make it, we inflate them a little bit, and then that's how we deal with it. What time is it now? Let's see here. I think we can do maybe 50 minutes. Does that seem possible? Yeah.
10 after 10 or so.
Yeah, 10 after 10. So you have plenty of time. I'll send you a little message that says we're halfway through. So that'll kind of just remind you where we are in time. And then I will do the same thing 5 minutes until we close out. All right. You'll get I think a 30-second warning, and then boom, everybody's going to be popped back into our main space here. And then we'll share back. We'll have people talk about insights, things they learned, things they hadn't thought about, things you feel would be beneficial for the rest of the group to hear. Does that sound good to everybody? Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So we have Kelly working on our breakout rooms as we speak. I am going to copy and paste the prompts into the chat just in case those are interesting for you. Let's see if I can find the chat.
And if you have to leave a little bit early, that's okay. Just let your group team know that you're going to be dropping off the call.
Stop my share here. All right. How are we doing, Kelly?
We are good. I'm ready to send everybody flying into the technology rooms.
Excellent. Okay, well, thanks for getting that ready, and we will see you all at about 10 after, and I'll send your messages along the way, okay?
Right.
All right, have fun, everybody.
All making our way back.
Welcome back, everyone. Hi there.
Hello, hello.
So how did it go? Yeah, some smiles, that's good.
Some thumbs up.
Quick.
I know,
Too quick for you, Kim?
We need to start making these 2 hours long. How's that sound?
Yeah, like at 3 a.m., please, when I'm actually.
Sure. In the middle of the
sleep.
night when people can't sleep.
Oh, I'm sure when you start to get rolling, it doesn't, it doesn't seem like long enough time. Yes, okay. Well, I think we've all made it back. So very interested to hear what you talked about, whether you talked about the prompt or some other interesting topics. We have just under 20 minutes to do our share backs in the main room here. So I think we've got time to hear from each of our rooms one by one. We've got 5 breakout rooms. So I'm not sure, we didn't actually mention, a lot of times when we go to our breakout rooms, we'd like to have one person who takes notes and reports back.
Mm-hmm.
But it can be a little bit more open if we'd like. So if we go to room number 1, that included Anna Maria, Diana Dinetz, Kelly from Fort Worth, Phil, and Randy. So why don't we go ahead and start with room number 1. And if you had anything you'd like to talk about with the rest of the group or report back.
I took some notes, but Kelly's our spokeswoman.
Okay,
All right.
why don't you tag team it then?
Okay. Go
Kelly's
ahead.
like, no, it's okay.
Go ahead, Kelly.
I told him the person that appoints the people is usually the ones in charge.
Being
One of the things
voluntold.
that we touched on in our group, I think that was so vitally important is was the groups when we have them, the role as a facilitator. And I feel like Sarah Jones is more than likely one of the greatest facilitators I have ever seen in my life.
And if anyone doesn't know
Because-
who Sarah Jones is, she's our CEO or our founder of PMD Alliance, and that which has been about 6 years. Is that correct? I think that's how long we've been in existence. So Sarah is on the periphery at this point, and so she joins us when she can. But that's who Kelly is speaking of, Sarah.
And those of us who have been blessed to be in especially a live meeting with Sarah, we have seen her control massive groups. And she does so with a smile. The most of the time that people do not realize they are being controlled. And so to me, that's what makes Sarah great. She knows how to start a meeting off with, I was telling people how we used to play that, how's your weather? Tell us what you'd be if you was a lollipop. What would you be if you was a car? She brings humor to the group and smiles and uplifting at the when we entered the room. It was there. In the way that she could always say, that's a great point. That's a good question. Something like that. Let's get back to it. And I said that after a while, you realize you just been hushed. And so realizing that control doesn't mean sit down, shut up, hush, go away, no, only you. That control can be done with a grace in the flow of a dance. And Sarah Jones did it. And as facilitators, to have a and I don't we always talk about that, getting rid of the word of a positive group, getting rid of negativity does not mean that we do get rid of people's woes, people's hardships, people's struggles, and people's bad. We're just talking about those people that like rabbit holes and wants everybody to come join them in their little tea party down there at the bottom. And so this is kind of what that was discussed, I feel like in our group, was where the energy level's at, how do we change it, how do we understand what the people in our group need and how to touch them. And I just wish all of you could see Sarah Jones in action. You might need to look back. There's more like some more conference things you could see in some of the videos and learn the grace of Sarah.
Good point. And I'd like to maybe offer as well the idea of control. That can sometimes be maybe a harsher term. And then thinking of it as maybe directing or guiding. Yeah. And Diana, I see your hand is up and you were in the same group. So did you have something to add?
And I actually like that, directing as opposed to controlling. We talked about that in the session.
Sure.
I like that. And I would venture to say the newest person who has started a group a couple of months ago, a Zoom group for PD care partners and caretakers. And we had a great discussion. And as someone else also brought up in our group, and we talked about, and it was Anna who brought it up, that a group is sort of a living entity of energy. And I think one of the things to realize is that also what might work for one group is slightly different for another, and what might work in one meeting is slightly different. So I think the notion of reading the group's energy, and as opposed to controlling people, directing energy, I think that's a really great thing that we talked about as well, and that I like a lot.
That's great. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah.
Thanks for starting a group.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love that. Excellent. Well, thank you to the first room.
Is Phil waving his hand?
Oh,
30, Shannon, 30 seconds. 30
yes.
seconds, because I don't want our group to take other people's times. So put me on the clock. But Diana opened our group with describing a woman that was probably solo in her life and maybe scared, but she was, how'd you put it, Diana? She was real needy and she would ramble. But,
Yes.
and I don't know if it was Kelly, but someone came up with the line, who else in here has what Judith is talking about, that trying to diplomatically move away from the person that is more than maybe the group can solve right there, and trying to be able to share her whatever she was talking about, but also kind of passing the talking stick. That got us started, trying to help Diana solve that.
Thanks, Phil. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, exactly. Passing the metaphorical talking stick to someone else. You can stay on the same if it's a theme that's appropriate, and it applies to many people. Oh, let's get a different perspective. How do you deal with that? And so it serves many purposes. That little tactic there. Excellent. Thank you. Okay, let's move to room number 2, which was Corey, Dave in California, Kim, Monica, Nancy, and Susan. And would anyone like to speak up for that room?
Kim, I have just requested that you unmute yourself.
Sorry.
Yep.
I asked when we got in there, basically your question, but specifically in my case, this afternoon, I'm going to split my group and put care partners in one room and the Parkinson's people in another. And I'm going to be in charge of running the program that just has Parkies, which I am one of. I know most of those people very well. So fortunately, the people in our group had lots of input for me. We talked about things like, oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Like somebody had one of their manuals, like let's say another, like Davis Finney manual with them, and would go through that and say, just open it to a subject and give people suggestions. They would go around and the redirect. I had got some great redirect ideas, and one of them is like what you said from Diane. So redirecting was good. We also discussed a lot of things about Brain HQ and Wordle and some of the cognitive stuff to suggest to the people in our groups, that part was really off topic, but really good.
Relevant to you, yes.
Very, very relevant. And Nancy is oh my gosh, Nancy, I'd like to take you everywhere with me because you have so much knowledge and so much experience with this. And she had some great ideas about being tactful with the people in the groups and stuff. And I'm sure someone else like Nancy might have more to say.
Thank you for that, Kim. Would you like to add anything, Nancy? I see you're unmuted.
I think it was Monica who brought up at the beginning, and I think we forget about it, but I think it's very important to just remind ourselves that what we discuss in our group stays in our group, that it is confidential, not fodder for discussion on Facebook or with friends, but confidential. And I really appreciated Monica saying that, because it can be, and there was talk about icebreakers and using those. Again, I think Kelly's description of some of Sarah's, if you were a car, what model would you be? What year and model? Those are great. That tend to take you out of woe is me. We talked a little bit about apathy and the fact that apathy, can have an organic cause, so that it's not just oh gosh, wow, I've got Parkinson's, what a bummer, but having difficulty, and the importance of referring to their care provider, if it's a movement disorder specialist, to address that, because that's certainly something I think it's often not spoken about a lot, but important to recognize. And giving people a time limit. I think I learned from you guys, maybe at the November 2018 live meeting in San Diego, about getting those little 3-minute hard-boiled egg timers. And, passing, when we were doing that right up until the pandemic, we'd have a group of 25 people and we were meeting for an hour and a half. Well, 3 minutes doesn't seem like a lot, but it is when you multiply it times 25.
True.
And I'd say the bottom line, if somebody's really presenting with a down attitude, is reflecting, here's what I hear you saying. Anybody else had those thoughts? How have you addressed them? And then my favorite is, you get to choose how to be in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
You get to choose how to be in the moment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That's huge.
Mhm.
That is just for
We don't
life
get to choose
in
what we
general.
have.
Yeah, you can't control
Life gives us what we're going to have.
life.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All you can control is your response and your reaction. Yeah.
What you
Kim.
think determines what you feel.
Yes.
I don't want to let this go without talking a little bit about it too. As Dave brought up, we talked about redirecting people in the support group, but we forgot about, sometimes we need to redirect the speakers because they will get so off topic.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think that's difficult, is, thinking
Right.
about you've brought somebody in to talk to people and you've told them, okay, this person's coming to speak about whatever, but it doesn't go that way. I think that's something that, we need to address too, is try to learn how to do that.
Right. With grace.
Yes.
Yeah, they're the so-called expert coming in to speak to the group. And so how do you do that in a way so we're not, not offending anyone? That's a real gift, or a skill rather, to be able to do that. Thank you to that second group. I think we should move to room number 3. We have Barbie, Joyce, Karen, Katie, and Perry in that group. Anyone want to speak for that group?
Perry, volunteering?
Unmute.
We covered the gamut.
Yeah.
Everything from young onset, palliative care versus hospice, to the negative folks, and some great suggestions and ideas on maybe how to take care of that. I mean, with just a very good talk about how to keep things positive and subjects we need to cover. Anybody else from the group want to?
One of the things that came up is that often the negativity that arises is reveals an underlying depression or anxiety, which are very much a part of Parkinson's. And a couple of us, Joyce and I, mentioned that in a one-on-one phone call with people, sharing our own experience and getting professional help, for how helpful it was to get professional care for dealing with that. Something to recognize. There's something sometimes, whether there's an unhappy personal experience or an emotional problem or something that's underlying the negativity, and sometimes it's helpful one-on-one to address that. And I think it was brought up earlier, sometimes these people just needed to be listened to, and maybe in a group setting it isn't appropriate, but in a one-on-one phone call it can be very effective.
That's a great point, Karen. Support group meetings can't be the only source of support potentially for people going through really hard times, and having suggestions for counselors or therapy or more of a one-on-one. And some of us as leaders do more of that, just out of the goodness of your heart. You take time and you call people and you have one-off conversations that aren't necessarily, like you said, appropriate for the whole group to be a part of. So just having that discernment and seeing, does this relate to the whole Or is this a very specific thing that should be done more in private? Yeah, really good point there. Thank you for that. Wonderful. Okay, so that was room number 3, I believe. We've got 2 more groups to get done in the next few minutes, hopefully. We've got room number 4 with Debbie, Joy, Lauren, Marcia or Marcia, and Melanie and Nasreen. Anyone like to speak for room number 4? Lauren, hi.
I'll jump in. I don't want to repeat what the other groups have said, just in the interest of time. We talked a little bit about the redirection that's already been talked about. We did have a really good resource that I think it was Debbie brought up, which is a care partner group at a UCSF called Sustainable Caregiving, which she said is very, very beneficial. Another thing that someone just put in the chat that we also mentioned is the new 988 system for mental health issues, which depression, anxiety, all that is definitely an issue in Parkinson's, as we know. So I think as support group leaders, we all need to be aware of that. If we've got someone who's really having a mental health crisis, that is available. You can get a specialist on the line right away. We also talked about how Zoom and in-person meetings are still an issue. It's out here on the West Coast, the COVID numbers are going up, so it's continuing to be an issue. I don't know, anyone else want to jump in on anything we talked about? Guess that was it.
Okay.
Lauren, that support group out of UCSF, Judy Long, also offers a support group for people living with a neurological disease. It's not as often. And you get an intensive 8-week training, whether you're care partner of someone with a neurological disease or person with a neurological disease. And it's every week, and lots of resources and handouts. And then you can opt to participate once a month in their follow-up, just general support. Again, care partners, and I'm assuming there may be one for people living with a neurological disorder, but don't quote me. And it's excellent. I am a participant, have been and
Okay.
am.
That's great. I don't know. Yeah, people in the chat are interested in more information about this group. I'm not sure if you have a link, a place where a website or something. If we could
Let me do
look for
some
that.
research right now and see if I find anything. I've got like emails that come to me. There's only a certain window of time when these groups open up, and they are filled instantly. So
Okay.
I'm gonna look at it. May be, Shannon, if I can't find it now, which I suspect
We
I
can
won't be able
send it
to
later.
I'll shoot it to you. I may talk to their IT Gail and say, hey, can you send to, who do I send it to, have them, her send it to?
You can send it
Shannon,
to
I would
Shannon.
say, and then
Yeah.
Shannon might be able to
Perfect.
send out. to
Yeah.
everyone.
I actually
Her-
have done the program too, and I'm Debbie, and had suggested it.
Debbie.
It's right now going on the neurologic program for both the Parkinsonian patient, and in the afternoon, it's the caregivers. So they're about halfway through. She offers it twice a year. She offers it in other programs too. It's a fabulous program. And I gave my information to the group. It's called Sustainable Caregiving.
We have it in the chat here, it looks like.
Yeah,
Debbie,
I just put it in the chat just now because I'm actually taking the course right now.
Oh, perfect.
And-
Okay.
And it's excellent. She gives you an enormous number of handouts that you can look at or not look at, and concentrates a lot on stress management. We meet once a week for about an hour and a half. It's on Tuesdays, or at least this round. I'm in the East Coast, so for me it's 5 to 6:30.
But it sounds like a
and-
course, like a class, there's a cohort and you need to be in it, and then you do it for a number of weeks, and then
Well-
it's a different cohort. You can't just keep, like, a new person can't join halfway. Is that correct?
No,
Okay.
not at all.
Got it. Okay.
It's offered for neurologic, it's offered twice a year.
Okay.
I've sent some of my people to take the class, and they have found it very productive.
Wonderful.
And literally it sells out. I mean, it is free of charge, but it sells out very quickly.
Yeah, and
And
if
this
you
is-
don't show up, if you don't show up, or you don't let them know you can't make a class, you're out of it, because they have that many people waiting to get on board.
Yeah.
Interesting. And this is
But they
Judy
do
Long.
record the session so that if you did miss one, you can hear it or want to hear
Okay.
it again. It's available.
Sounds like a great resource. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, perfect. And then is that you, Rachel, that put the link in the chat? So it's in the chat, the link. Thank you. Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, everybody. We have one more group, right? Yes, Adrienne, who's raising her hand, and Judy, Kathy, Roger, and Warren.
So I elected myself as note taker. So I'll speak what I remember. We were the food group.
Okay, I like it.
Both
Shoot,
Roger,
I wish I was in that group.
both Roger and Judy emphasized the importance of food for in face-to-face meetings, and different ways of paying for them. We reflected on the fact that some of the people that give us the most difficulty in our groups are people who are living alone and have no other outlet for conversation. They're alone with their thoughts. And so oftentimes this is the only contact that they have with other people that they can talk to. And that led us to Judy talking about some of her social programs, which were not necessarily support groups, but she has a pizza night once a week, and she has like coffee. What's it called, Judy? Coffee?
Oh, Friday mornings is coffee talk, and the pizza night was monthly, not
right,
not weekly.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, monthly.
It was actually a PMD Alliance event that was paid for by pharmaceutical, or one of our thanks.
But the idea of having a social
right,
social group rather than something where you're specifically dealing with the topic of PD. You just happen to be people with PD that are getting together in a social group. Anything else, gang?
I think I did forget to share one thing about when we have a person who we just talked about we ask for volunteers within the group to share their phone number if they want to, and they get together offline, and that's worked out pretty good, I think. I know there's a couple of people here right now that are talking to one of our members that we had that was depressed, I believe, and we try to get them more attention out of the meeting format, and I think that's helped a little bit. So,
and I'll end with cards. Two members mentioned using comment cards as a way of, one, helping stimulate conversation in the group, but also as a way of, if someone is going over the same problem over and over again, getting them to write down more clearly what their ideas are, and also what they want back from the group as a way of moving forward.
I like that idea, in that it's a constant request for input, as opposed to, okay, once a year, let's talk about what we're going to do, what we want to talk about. It allows things to morph and shift, and we never know what's around the corner, do we? Or even tomorrow. So our needs are going to change and our ideas will change. So that's a neat idea. Comment cards. Do people mostly leave them anonymous, or are they signing them? Adrienne, like, do they put it in a box and it's anonymous?
My sense was that it was both ways.
Okay.
when someone was having a particular issue that they weren't able to deal with it in the time allotted, and Roger, correct me if I'm wrong on this, that the person then was asked to write their thoughts and concerns and needs on a card to help clarify that. So that would be a specific person. But the other one, I believe, was at the beginning of the meeting. One of the gentlemen had comment cards at the table where people, when they first came in, they sat down and filled out kind of what was on their mind, sort of like what we did at the beginning of this meeting.
Excellent. Wonderful. Thanks for all that input. Great. Anything else from room number 5 before we wrap up our roundtable?
I would just like to add that we do have a flying solo group with the PMD Alliance. So for any of you that are solo and want to connect outside of this type of forum, second and fourth Monday, I believe I
put the link in the chat for everybody to see. Thanks, Judy.
Yeah.
And if we can also let people know our roundtable date for August.
That's a very good question. It's a little bit of a busy month. I know I'm going to be out of the country for a couple of weeks, and we have a couple of live programs happening toward the end of the month. So we will let you know as soon as we know when our next gathering will be, and we'll get that out to just our support group leader list. I apologize, I can't let you know today. It's just one of those crazy months. Lots going on. So we will let you know as soon as we can. Looks like Phil has a flag of some sort.
Yeah, well, it's my hand, but 30 seconds. Remind me, this is a great program. I don't make it all the time, but there's not a summary page of a lot of the things that were discussed today, because I did not get everything down on paper. Or is there just a recording that we would go back to?
Exactly that. So in a couple of days, we'll have the recording, and I will send the follow-up email with the recording link in it to all of you, anyone who is registered for this event.
Super. Thank you.
Yes, sure. Warren.
And I see Warren has his hand up. You'll have to unmute. There you go.
Did you have a date for when that one-on-one course will be online?
What I've been told is that we are going to launch it at the All In Summit, which is in October. There's a little bit more of a process of editing and putting it into an on-demand format, which, yes, it's going to take a little bit more time. So for anyone who has kind of pertinent or questions that need to be addressed right now, go ahead and email me and we will try to help you, anyone who has questions right now. Adrian.
A follow on to that from the 101 session, which was fabulous, by the way, thank you, is the small group facilitators manual. I had dropped a note about whether we could get a printed copy of that, or maybe get some directions on how we could take it to Kinko's to get it printed to make it useful that way. If someone could get back to me on that, I would appreciate that. Because it's hard for me to use it online.
Yeah, let's be in touch one-on-one about that. I'm sorry, I didn't see that come through. It might have gone to the general box or something. So
thank you.
Yes, yeah, of course. Okay, everyone.
Everybody.
That's a wrap.
So good to see you all today.
Hey, would you like to hear a final short prayer? Oops. Would you like to hear? Would you like to hear a short prayer that we say when we start our meeting? And anybody that would like this prayer, I can send it to them.
Sure. Is this the one that you shared in Phoenix with us, Phil?
It is.
The invocation?
More of an affirmation for those of you who are thinking that it might be religious. It's not religious.
It's not religious. It's a pledge. You want me to shoot that, Shannon?
Why don't you go ahead and share that with us? And if you want to send it to me via email, I can attach it as well.
Oh, that would be super. Welcome to we start our meetings. Welcome to the Trimmer Safe Zone, a place where you can strengthen ties to family, friends, community, and each other. People tend to do better in groups than alone. In this room, we are made stronger and wiser. We are inspired, better informed by our proximity to each other. Parkinson's can be an isolating disorder. We can all relate to this, but not here and not today. In this room, we help each other. We are together. We are not alone. So I don't know where I found it, but it's a good step to start a meeting with.
Awesome. I'd love a copy of that.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So email it to you, Shannon.
Yes, please. And I can
Okay,
attach that.
You got it. Thank you.
Okay.
All right,
Wonderful.
everybody. We'll see you all soon.
Yes,
Thank
take
you.
care, everyone.
Thank
Have a
you
good
very
week.
much.
Take care, everybody.
Be determined.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot.